Hey all, welcome from my bunker to week two. I read through all of your discussion board posts and have commented back on them. Some were better than others, and I tried to go easy the first time around with them since I know it's the first class. One thing I would just give sort of recommendations to everybody is when you're using articles or books or something, try to cite the page that you're pulling from or the quote you're pulling from. Similarly, if you're doing a quote, make sure to explain what that means. Don't just assume that we understand what that is. The good thing with discussion boards, y'all can read each other's posts. So I have a couple here highlighted that might be worth looking at just as particularly good and worth emulating in the future. Two people, there's more than, I'm going to give you four examples here, but there's more than four good posts, obviously, in here. I'm just highlighting a couple. Two people wrote really great about love, so I encourage you to check out their post. One person's Barbara Mello, does a really good job analyzing that notion and then providing scene analysis to it. And another one is Jorge Sarahino. Hopefully I'm saying that right. You can correct me, Jorge, if I'm wrong on that. But another time where love's written about well, with good scene analysis. And then two people who write about imminence in Bazan that were particularly well done, along with some good scene analysis. One was Bryn Eves. You did a good job there in terms of what you did. And similarly, I have Patricia Moss also, who does a really good job. I provide comments for all of your discussion board posts, so make sure to read them. Also, feel free to stop by when I hold office hours or the times when we're not having classes. You can stop into my office and speak to me. It's part of the assignment, one, but two, if you have questions, you can feel free about that. Okay, a little background here about Stray Dog, the next film you're about to watch. Our first film noir film, right? Film noir really, it does emerge actually a little bit earlier. It's debatable when people claim film noir emerges. Some people can say it's the late 30s, some people say mid 40s, so on and so forth. But it's sort of a dark turn that's noticed within American cinema and sort of stretches out internationally. So we're starting here with Japanese cinema, but we'll do an American film next week too. But what I should say, maybe to state the obvious, all three films we're watching, Bicycle Thieves, Stray Dog, Naked City, are all post-war films dealing sort of with the aftermath of World War II in their own way. So I think they have interesting links that way itself. Stray Dog is done by Akira Kurosawa, by far the most well-known of all Japanese directors. Yoshiro Uzu is another great director, but I don't have time to show his films and done a kind of different thing. And there's a series of other directors, obviously, I could focus on, but Kurosawa was most known for his samurai films, which we're not going to be watching here. Keep in mind here, right? Stray Dog emerges after Pearl Harbor, and the Japanese government issues strict quota guidelines in films that glorified its war efforts and traditions, not unlike Italy and America, so on and so forth. In other words, all these studios were being used for propaganda purposes. Casablanca, if you want to think about it, is a propaganda film from the US. Probably one of the most effective ones because people don't think of it as that way. But in many ways, if you know the film, Rick's move from being an isolationist to being involved in the war, in many ways, is an allegory for the US's stance of not wanting to be involved in World War II, getting involved with it. If you remember, Italy created its own kind of massive cinema system, Cinecittà, consolidates. So in Japan, right, 10 existing studios consolidate into two large corporations under the Office of Public Information. After World War II, I should just say Japan was a part of the Axis. It is interesting, we have two films actually we're watching from the Axis side of things, Italy and Japan. The only film we're going to watch by the Allies is our own U.S. film, Naked City. So the U.S. occupied Japan after World War II, needed to dismantle sort of the pro-feudal, imperial, military aspects of Japanese cinema. So it established its own branch called the Civil Information and Education Section. The censorship branch was based off of our own, interestingly enough. So it couldn't glorify leaders. Some things were allowed and some things weren't in cinema. Not surprisingly, like France. So, I mean, maybe I should just walk back here a second. You know, the term film noir, I'm sure you heard before, comes from France. It's a French term, dark film. And this happened because France had could not receive films during the war. So they had this influx of films that came into France post-war, and they noticed this kind of dark trend occurring in American cinema. Not coincidentally, similar happens in Japan, right? They have an influx of U.S. films and also notice this sort of dark tendency. And Kurosawa was particularly influenced by U.S. film. So while watching it, what different perspective does the film offer from a Japanese perspective regarding post-war society compared to something like The Bicycle Thieves? I used to teach Rome Open City. I was about to say it. I'm so used to it. The Bicycle Thieves, right? How does it represent people struggling in post-war society? Just like The Bicycle Thieves did, right? But in a different way. Particularly important, it's like, what influence do we see from Italian neorealism on Stray Dog? Stray Dog's interesting. It's sort of both commercial. It has Hollywood aspects to it, but it also has very much noir. It has very much Italian neorealist aspects to it as well. So kind of keep your eyes open for that. Also, I have a discussion board post question about Stephen Prince asking about how willpower can cure. What does that mean? And how it might apply to the film. So keep your eyes on this. See, for these three films coming up, Stray Dog, Bicycle Thieves, and Naked City, you want to kind of compare and contrast in your mind. That's going to be probably your first question. Your first essay question will be related to that. All right, I look forward to reading your responses. The discussion board post's up right now. Talk to you soon.